Last week, I was poached headfirst into this boiling water, not knowing what I was into. And this week, I have no idea what is going on. And I have a vaguest understanding of things. But in the time since, for whatever reason, the Soy Jack people have decided to take an immense interest in Synthetic Man, also called Synthetic Chud Man, who does something called the Chudcast, I think. And now that I'm a little bit more informed, here is what I understand. He is an anti-woke media commentator who does video game and also movie reviews, but definitely video games. And he has acquired an audience which is now turning on him, and that is the foundation of his drama, because his audience is very chudly. And he's kind of like a I guess close to Tim. This is hard to say, but kind of like a Tim Pool libertarian, where he's like, I appeal to the right because of my takes, but at the same time, I'm like very laissez-faire minded type. So I have a couple clips to kind of lay the groundwork on him, and then I'll talk about what I think happened to kickstart the drama. Okay.
And Riju's a Gerudo, and if you've seen any of their Rule 34, you know they're usually sporting a little something extra. Come. That's why I'm going doing your pussy tonight, Link.
So he's into Fuda. I think that's inarguable. I want to say it's not an allegation that he outright talks about being into Fuda. And there's another clip of him where he explains how the problem with anime is that anime, because it's a fantasy, can make anything look good, including girls with penises. So he says that girls with penises are very hot, but only in anime, where they're like properly women but with penises, and in real life are disgusting to him. So he's kind of like that meme where it's like, I love Fuda, but I would never, ever, 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 I promise. And this, of course, has led to some contention amongst his fans, who, as someone running something called the Chudcast, you might expect them to be a little bit more conservative than that.
Yeah, I have listened to some ASMR recently, I won't lie. Wrong. I had to read this one out, because this is literally like one of the most pseudo-intellectual comments I've ever read in my life. Like, this guy is 90 IQ tops. More likely, probably 85. I guess. Actually.
So he got caught in 4K with the anime ASMR VTuber in the recommendations. And then when gently prodded if he had been watching ASMR, he kind of admitted that yes, he was. So if Pillow Deer ASMR is your Oshi, you share an Oshi with the Synthetic Man, this guy. And then this is what's causing him some frustration with his audience. This kind of stuff.
Yeah. Also,
so apparently Palworld, the Pokemon knockoff game, released a companion game that's a dating simulator, from my understanding, and he's talking about that on this.
They pussied out. They didn't put the in. They're scared. I don't know if you...
That might be for the best.
Hold on, tell me. Since you don't know Palworld, you probably haven't seen this. Actually, it's in my thumbnail for my Palworld review, so you could just click that. But hold on. I will show this. I'll show this on the stream really quick. But there's a character...
What is it called?
Dazzy, D-A-Z-Z-I. Let's see. There's a character that is basically on a cloud. And so... They did not put that in the dating sim.
I posted it in Discord, told me if you want to see it.
Oh, damn. All right, Devin's fast.
Oh, I'm seeing some uh-ohs in chat. I've been told after my last stream that means nothing at all, and if you think that it does, you're the...
So that's what chat wanted. That's what chat wanted in. Just ask them, they'll be honest. Okay.
Okay, so there's that. I understand that he has that pro art expression take, and it's kind of grinding with his audience. He's not ever come out and said that he's a con, but he has like not disavowed it, which is pissing people off. Now, when I talked about this, I mostly focused on that because I couldn't really understand what was happening. And when I talked about that, someone who's actually banned from, I don't know if she's banned or not, but she despises me because she says that I'm a feminist. She is apparently a fan of this guy and sent him money to try and provoke a response. And Synthetic Man, being somebody who has incredible self-preservation instinct, decided to take a $1 super chat from a and just go off on it. You ready? This is a response to my last stream talking about him.
He's only seen your clips talking about. He says you're using libertarian arguments. All right, maybe Noel does want little boys. If all he's thinking about all the time is, it's like,
you hear that awkward laugh? That's the laugh of somebody who just realized that he cannot put that genie back in the bottle, and he is now on my shit list forever.
Either he hates because he wants to touch real kids, or he hates because he wants to touch little boys instead. Like, legitimately, out of all the things that I've said over the years, my opinions on are the bottom of significance, not even close to, like, if I had to rank all the most important opinions I've ever said over the course of my channel, my non-committal answer on con is like in the bottom, I don't know, 50, bottom 10, bottom 20. Like, this is shit. This is 100% shit. Like, I know that I'm sure to him that I'm basically irrelevant. That's fine. I don't think I'm important in like a literal sense, but that is stupid. That is goddamn stupid. I just gotta be honest. Like, out of all the things to look up for the Synthetic Man, it's a opinions. Yeah, he's autistic 1000%. You get 1000%.
My autism in this case, by the way. I'm not sure if he says anything else at the end. But my autism.
Yeah, I'm sure he's mad that I don't ban 30% of my fans.
Oh yeah, okay.
You know, right. Which is totally what a smart person would do.
So here's the awesome thing. Really awesome thing. As I pointed out, he seems to have a lot of people enjoying their OOs in the chat, right? And he's saying that it would be a terrible business decision for him to ban people who are just openly talking about child erotic in his chat as he discusses con. It would be bad business decision. Obviously, taking the Medicare route where you never piss off your own audience. You never speak against your own audience because they're the ones who support you. Never break that golden rule. Never ever go against your own audience, even if they're talking about child belly erotic. Never do that, chat. So, after this, he apparently walked it back a little bit, and then
no. Vicio's thanks $2. A real man apologizes when he's done wrong. I honestly don't think I was very in the wrong. What I was in the wrong for was grossly exaggerating. Like, I got way too angry, but I got angry because of the accumulation of all the bad shit that's been happening. You know, like, I realized
the bad shit is
that.
And again, this is a very secondhand rehashing. What I understand is that even though, like, apparently according to him, 1/3 of his chat is child belly erotic enthusiasts. There's another significant chunk that is very anti-anime, anti-VTuber. And he had a VTuber on his stream where apparently he did like a 180 and started, instead of, being critical of her, he was very supportive or not critical enough. And that caused a lot of his audience to call him a simp. And that blew up in his face. So now he's kind of torn between 1/3 of his audience really likes child belly erotic, and the other third is like, why are you talking to these people that you should despise on your podcast and something for them? So he's kind of torn between that. He's trying to figure out how to appease both sides.
He wasn't that harsh on me compared to other figures, but
then after, so he reads the $1 super chat from and lights up, and then he actually listens to what I said, and I'm just kind of like, yeah, I'm just kind of paying attention to this because it's happening, and I'm trying to like form understanding of what's going on, and that's kind of what I pray. And then he's like, oh, he didn't actually call me or anything. he just kind of just filled in the gap. Like, he assumed that if I was talking about him, I must be calling him a so therefore he's just going to say whatever he wants. And then he watched it, he's like, oh, I'm actually okay, I got you.
again, it was the principle that I was vastly misrepresented because of his personal crusade against Khan, right? Where I was wrong was me calling him and that he wants little boys or whatever. That's where I up. But I'd say
Imagine saying that. Imagine saying that. Yeah, I accidentally called this guy. I said he little boys, and I probably shouldn't have done that. Like, how do you how do you make that mistake? How is that like your go-to? That when you hear about somebody saying something you don't like, you're like, you know what? Oh, here's hold up. Oh man, I'm never going to be able to find this, and any search query that I'm going to put into Google to try and find this clip is a disaster. It's like the that Rockstar game about interrogating people, where one of the options for like a mob boss is, "Do you like little boys, Varez?" Like that should not be your. Actually, I think what's even funnier about that is that that's the only way to actually proceed in that interrogation. Like that's the correct option to take. Yeah, L.A. Noire. There's a scene where you can accuse some mob boss of, "Do you like little boys?" Like this guy, he picked the wrong option. Basically, he tried to be going against me like I'm Valdez, and that's not what you're supposed to be doing.
It was justified on my end. I mean, if you literally, your podcast exists and your entire website exists to talk about drama on the internet, and I have the most active thread on Kiwi Farms.
He did at the
5
time.
minutes to just look up what the drama was about.
I tried. I even now I still don't understand it. I read through the OP and everything. My understanding is that he's having like a fan revolt, in part because of the Child Belly people, and then also because of his appearance with a VTuber that he apparently had disavowed in the past, and it's causing like a conflict. And now he's like really resentful that his audience is not like keeping it on lock and supporting him like he would hope for.
You know what I mean? Like, again, I overreacted. I shouldn't have said what I said, but do I need to explain like what the issue is? It's kind of fucking ridiculous, don't you think?
Yeah. How about that? How about this? Instead of calling me as your immediate reaction, why don't you explain what is happening in a language I can understand? So after this, by the way, he sent me an email, and I didn't post this first. So I thought it was inconsequential, but I'll read it because apparently this is, if Saber Spark gets an S, this is an F. So he contacts me and says, "Normally, I would never do this, but I'd like to apologize for my behavior on stream yesterday. I'm well aware there's no excuse for calling you and saying that you want little boys." Yeah, there is not. So clearly, I'm overreacting because of the other drama related to my channel. As for Ranger Boo's comments, I didn't actually believe them, which is why I was hesitant to comment on her super chat. But you did it anyways. If you're not sure, if someone super chats me to say like XYZ is I don't think I'll read that. I don't think I would read that, or I'd read it verbatim. I wouldn't just like agree with it. Okay, so that's the paragraph. And then apparently the rest of this is irrelevant as an apology, okay? The reason I was pissed is because my extremely parasocial fans exploded on me for being nice to a VTuber. That is literally it. I know it's not worth your time to go through them, but you can check the VODs and people have re-uploaded. My drama had nothing to do with cons, my opinion on drawings. People have informed me of your past as an HN mod, so I understand your personal disgust with the issue. That has nothing to do with me. My opinion on has been public for years. No, this is all because I felt remorse for being an asshole to a VTuber, Kirsha. Oh my! Honestly, I can't get away from her at this point. Publicly, who I promised privately that I wouldn't do exactly that just 3 days prior. See, the issue is that Kirsha is like one of the it's like Chud adjacent, but is also independent. So there are chains on all the other VTubers, and they can't make appearances willy-nilly without agency approval. But Kirsha can do whatever she wants, and I guess because of the novelty of it, a lot of people like Synth just invite her on, and then it becomes drama because it's like a whirlwind of like chaos around these people. That's literally it. I know it's not worth your time. Wait, I did that public Ali. Is that how you spell that? It's not just publicly. Public Ali. That is a typo. Okay. Who I had promised privately that I wouldn't do exactly that just 3 days prior. Yeah, I mean, when you go from "I will never ever talk to the anime girl on stream" to "here's the anime girl, I think she's pretty cool now," I imagine that some people are going to get some whiplash from that shit. That's literally it. People blew up a simple ethical dilemma and some cringy words. I'm not sure if you've seen the whoa mama shit. It's the most active thread on Kiwi Farms. My fans are pathetic. I talked to Kirsha privately about content creator related stuff, but I am not delusional simp. I have no intentions to try and date her or whatever shit people are saying. So I got doxxed by my own fans because they think I chose a woman over them. For the record, I support the existence of Kiwi Farms. I'm not going to ask you to remove the info or anything. I know how this works. I won't waste any more of your time on my personal drama, especially when it's boring and blown out of proportion by bad actors. Just know that I am sorry I let my anger get the best of me. I said some stupid ezzy shit like I always do. Me and you are actually pretty similar in our beliefs on a lot of things. For you to guess my podcast, just interested in resolving the conflict. Now, as per usual, in my responses, I go down things like a judge. Here's a tip. If you ever want me to respond to something in your email, make sure it's the very first thing that you write, because the chances are when I respond, I'm going to get to that and I'm going to respond to that and nothing else, because that is simply my way of responding to things. And when apparently it really, really drives people up the wall that I do this, but I'm like a judge. Okay. I get to point one that passes the sniff test, and that's where I'm putting my motion down. Okay. So you better make sure that's the first thing I see. I respond saying, you have managed to get people to call me a gay involved in trafficking children in foreign countries, so I'm not particularly sympathetic. When she says, that can't be unusual for you by now. What a line. What a line, buddy boy. That's yeah, you righted that ship. For what it's worth, I've never mentioned anything about trafficking. Those are just my psychotic parasocial fans and haters who are two sides of the same coin that I'm sure you already know. I'm not really asking for your simpies, but I would like you to make an official statement on stream, or if you would, or something to that effect. I can do. I might not seem like it, but I am a much more mature and stable person offline. I can run my mouth too much and get in trouble. Either way, I appreciate it. I don't know. I don't need like a response. Like, I don't know. I'm not asking for like a retraction. It's just kind of like, what the f*** are you doing? Why would you do that? However, the response to this, which I wasn't expecting, is that a lot of people started making fun of his fans because he's obviously dumping ass on them. And in particular, Kobe Goldstein for £5 sterling says, sorry to bring up the drama, but why did you call us pathetic in an email to Joshua Moon? You have a very dedicated fan base. I'm not trying to annoy you. Coaxius warns him a ban is incoming. Justin Jones says G-Tab. Ender says who? Fluffer says oh boy. Otter says you had it coming. Giga Doomer says who is Josh Moon? Malazko says lol the name. I guess that Goldstein. And then the chat summary is, viewers are discussing a recent apology email from the streamer and their thoughts on the current minimum wage and cost of living. Some viewers are sharing their own experiences with earning money and living experiences. Okay. So he said he was sorry. Let's see what happens now.
Kobe Goldstein, thanks £5. Sorry to bring up drama. Why'd you call us pathetic in the email to Joshua Moon? Well, some of you are pathetic, let's be real. You have a very dedicated fan base. Yeah, and some are, and a significant number of you are dedicated to hating me now. Interesting. I'm not trying to annoy you. Well, I'm not surprised that revealed the emails, given that, you know, he's a fat bitch and all that, who has a non-functioning penis. And that's his own, that's something he admitted.
I think that this guy is a couple drinks away from being Ethan Ralph. You know, it may be time to sacrifice synthetic chud man, to the corn, to appease the gods, so that we can have a bountiful harvest. Because I'm getting some echoes of the past in these streams, where it's just kind of like, you know, if you have a self-preservation instinct, you should usually think before you speak. And I get a lot of shit for that. People say I talk so slow. It's like, well, I'm trying to think about what I'm saying. I am on stream. These things are being recorded. There are thousands of people listening to me talk. I better make sure that when I say something, I'm not going to instantly regret it and cause ripples of contempt and hatred that are going to echo back to me. So I don't know, buddy. Just from one internet guy to another. Feels like a bad idea. I'm not saying that you can't pick a fight with me, but the way of going about it, again, look at that. It's like, it's not my fault I called you. I was simply reading a super chat and put no thought into it before I responded. It's not my fault that I called you all and pathetic in my email. I just assumed it wouldn't be public. You know, it's like, That's not a valid excuse to doing that. You are talking about your fans like they're scum of the earth. Maybe don't say that to people. And that's something that was offline, by the way. He says that he's just not good at thinking on his feet, which is a very, very important skill for anybody who's live on anything, because there are times where you have to come up with reactions on the spot. It's part of the job. So you better be good at that skill. But that was an email. He wrote that in an email. He had time to sit down and think about what he had to say and how to compose his thoughts, how to organize his thoughts so that they were the most impactful, the most meaningful, and the most persuasive, and best representing his perspective and his thoughts and feelings. And he chose, with all that benefit, to how, when, and why, and where to say things, to say very specifically that his fans are so. I guess it's true. I guess that's what he actually thinks. Because what else would I believe? That he made a mistake then when he wrote an email? He didn't have to write an email. He is a big hypocrite. I used to watch him. Interesting. He's a React streamer. He just has to go whoa. I think he just has to go uh-oh based off what I've seen in his chat. I think that's what they're really looking for. Anyways, so that's the synthetic man drama. I hope I have covered this a little bit more properly than last time, because I think many people were frustrated at my inability to articulate what was happening last time. But really, I mean, the most notable thing to me is just how big it is. Like, how many people are talking about this. And I guess it's just because it's another lesson from Internet Man, right? So not just podcast Internet Man, but forum Internet Man. The most vehement haters of any person on the forum, the people who actually genuinely despise and most passionately discuss people on the Kiwi forums, are ex-fans. And I think about that even with the people I cover. Nick Ricada, Ethan Ralph, Jem Sterling even. I used to watch Jem Sterling. I remember playing that game where you're like in a submarine building bases under the ocean on an alien planet. I remember playing that game and listening to like all of his old videos for the Gemquisition, and like just saying, like hearing in real time his like mental decline over the years. And now he's still of interest to me. If Jem Sterling does something interesting, I'm all for it. Seeing Ricada decline in real time, seeing Ralph decline in real time. Like, I had experience with them before they became locals, so it's like, you know, they're naturally more interesting to me because there's a full story there. It's like, if you've had this fan base of people who know everything about you, and they've been listening to you for years, and, you know, if you piss them off and turn on them and belittle them and mock them and betray their trust and do things that they don't want you to do, those people don't just go away. I mean, some of them do, but a lot of them will stay fans forever, just like anti-fans. And it's the same thing with like Darkside Phil even. I think all of his A-logs are old fans of Darkside Phil. So, you know, that's the way the cookie crumbles. That's the way that people are. That's just human psychology. Yeah, like iDubbbz, exactly. iDubbbz is another fantastic example of somebody who had a real fandom and is now a massive lolcow because he betrayed his entire fan base, disavowed all the content that they were fans of and that they enjoyed, and basically ridiculed them for ever liking it, even though, you know, he made it. So now he's got millions of people who consider him like a punching bag. That's a direct consequence of this. There's like so much to this that it is like a DSP thing where it's like, if you don't properly know what's going on, there's no, like, somebody was talking about how he demodded one of his mods or something called Cobain, and it's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. You know what I mean? It's like, but to a lot of people, like, that's the hot drama. Like, he like one of these clips I mentioned, this one, I didn't even play this. He demodded one of his mods called What the Egads because of D-writing. And I'm like, I'm sure that in his community, this is like a big deal. They know who this guy is, that they think it's bullshit he was demodded, and their like passions are inflamed because, you know, somebody that they like was reprimanded by their top guy. And it's like, that's that kind of resentment. It's very strange. And, you know, this is something that you only learn over time, and through experience, but there are encounters that you have with people that you think are insignificant. You know, they're like a daily occurrence to you in the course of your work. that really stick with people for years. And they'll bring it up like 5 years later about how you wronged them or how you spoke to them in a way that really pissed them off. And you completely forgot about that shit. You forgot about it as soon as it happened, even. And they hate you. They hate you because of that. Like, that's just human nature. Like, when you're the big guy and you're the top dog, and you say something to somebody who has a lot of respect for you that's really, insensitive, it's human nature that is going to have a disproportionate impact on them than it does you. And if you do that enough to people, especially if they're not really expecting it, and it comes out of the blue and it feels like a betrayal, that resentment is very slow to dissipate. It's like drinking, like when I eat my tuna. I can only eat so much tuna, chat, because it has mercury. And sure, that mercury might go away after a while, but if you eat too much tuna, that mercury builds up and then it's the same thing with like people hating you. Like, you can piss people off every so often and it will go away over time. But if you piss too many people off too quickly, that mercury builds up in your spinal column or in your brain, and then you die, chat. You become you gotta be careful eating tuna, is what I'm trying to say.
Oh yeah, egad. So yeah, I'm gonna demod you just because well, I just, part of it is everyone wants you demodded. But the other part is that I just formally want to ask you not to make any more videos on me, for one. And for two, just stop deriding me. All right, that's it. It's those two things. That's all I'm gonna say. I don't know how to say it any other way. Just don't do it.
Yeah, it's true. The skipjack tuna, which is the shittiest. Albacore is so nice, but skipjack has the least mercury. And the reason for that is the way that predators eat smaller creatures, that mercury builds up. And skipjacks don't last as long. They don't live as long. So they have the least mercury. I have been eating skipjack as opposed to albacore, and only twice a week. And I don't feel like I have mercury building up in my brain. I'll let you guys know if I ever test positive for mercury poisoning or something. Fish is gross. Bro, white people are sea monkeys. We are people who evolved on the sea to eat the fish. And if you don't like fish, you are not a proper sea monkey. You're just a regular monkey, chat.